Welcome back to episode 35 of the XboxNorth podcast. This week we talk about the upcoming Halo TV show and the huge year Sea of Thieves is about to have. And, of course, the big news of the week, Sony's purchase of Bungie. All this and much more on this week's episode of the XboxNorth podcast. But before we start, please take the time to share this episode, like and subscribe. And if you can, ring that bell. But with that out of the way, Dan, how you doing, bud? What have you been playing?
Doing pretty good. Been trying to play some more DayZ, mostly. Doing a lot of work and everything, so get into some DayZ when I can, and usually me and Ryan gotta time that just right so that we're on the server at the same time. We've had one or two... Right? We've had one or two setups where we've been on a different server just testing it out, see what's kind of good, what isn't, because we found a few are very dark at nighttime. So there's the standard mode, you can still see pretty much all night long. But the nights are very long, the days are very long. It's a little more realistic feeling. But at some of the servers and everything, they'll either shorten the nights or they might lengthen the nights, and most of the community servers we've found, the nights are pitch black, so you have to actually use your lights and everything. And, yeah, you can't just run around and see and expect nothing to be there because there's friggin' zombies everywhere and everything. I got to try one where there's crashed airplanes. They added a whole bunch of there was a castle in the water and all sorts of nonsense. Yeah. So some of them are pretty heavily modded, but it was pretty cool. We've been checking that out, trying to see kind of what we like, find a server we enjoy to play on, and I think we found one that's pretty good. The nights are dark, but they're very short. So you have a few minutes where you got a headlamp or something going, and you got to try and get through or get to a town or a house somewhere without getting attacked by too many zombies. Yeah. One we jumped on was super scary because there's wolves in the game, but we hadn't really seen them before until we jumped onto this one server, and then it was pitch black night, and you could just hear howling and wolves and stuff growling around you. I think Ryan got attacked, but I wasn't close enough to him yet.
Question, for the day and night cycle of the game, is it real time or is it?
No, it's shorter than real time. So but it's still pretty significantly long. I'd say the nighttime is a good probably 30 minutes at least. Or at least feels like 30 minutes, and then the daytime's a good probably 30 minutes too, or an hour for daytime. So you have a little more daytime, it feels like, than you do nighttime.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I might try it. It's still janky though, right?
It's fairly janky, but I mean, it's mostly the controls. It's meant for a keyboard and mouse. It's not designed fully for a controller, but we've made it work well enough, and they do have some quick buttons that just take some time to learn. So we figured out after a while that, okay, as long as you have a gun and you're aiming down the sights, you don't have to, go into your inventory and take out the clip and change the bullets and everything. You can hold down Y, and you can swap clips and everything. You can, quickly pop a bullet out of the chamber, or you can load a new bullet in. You can, quick little things you can kind of do still. B is bash with your weapon.
Yeah. So
it's been working pretty well.
Any shows you've been watching lately that have been interesting?
Been trying to keep up with Boba Fett. That one's we got the next episode of that to watch, but the last one was more of an ad for the third season of the Mandalorian, the regular Mandalorian, Din Djarin. So it was kind of you saw a flash of Boba Fett at the beginning, and then it was just all Din Djarin. And there was some cool stuff that they revealed, but at the same time it's why is this in the book of Boba Fett? Other than...
Yeah, didn't he get a new ship or something?
Yeah, he got a new ship, and Boba Fett was basically, sort of spoilers on this anyways, was looking to hire him. They worked together in the last season, so it's not really super far-fetched or anything.
So are you enjoying it? I can't stand hearing him talk in his face all the time.
Yeah. The seeing Boba Fett's face all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why they did that for The Mandalorian, but they couldn't do that for, I guess, were they thinking, oh, we have two shows with like a protagonist that just like doesn't show their face? I'm just like, yeah, you do.
Well, so they're actually explaining that a little more. So, and that's kind of a little bit what they alluded to in the last episode, was just that Din Djarin is very much doesn't take off his helmet at all because of his specific like Mandalorian religion, because he's from like a specific sect of Mandalorians that like they're supposed to like keep their helmet on all the time. They're not allowed to take it off ever, sort of thing. Like, if you take it off, you're basically not a Mandalorian anymore. And so Boba Fett, because his dad was a Mandalorian, but he was just like, he just inherited the armor being a, like, unaltered clone.
He's a clone.
Yeah, he's an unaltered clone. So he wasn't, like, programmed with Order 66 and everything, but he's, a clone. And so it's unclear whether or not, like, a lot of Mandalorians would consider him a Mandalorian or not. But throughout the show, they've shown, like, most of the guys who aren't a part of this sect, which is a lot of the other Mandalorians and everything, is, like, they're just regular Mandalorians. They don't follow this specific code and everything, so they just take off their helmets whenever they want.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like his, like, just mystery from, like, the movies and stuff like that, even though he, like, was, like, in it, like, for a flash. But... And, like, from, like, the games and stuff like that.
I feel like the actor, too, kind of wanted to have some more visibility, because he kind of was quickly in, like, the older series and stuff. He's been in a bunch of other stuff, too, but...
Actually, it's funny, Dan, that you say that. There's an interview where he was straight up to the director, why is my helmet off so much? And he's like, can we just lose, like, pages? He told them to throw away pages and pages of dialogue. So he was not, like, actually, which I was surprised to see the interview, like, him kind of, not, like, talk trash, but kind of be critical of their kind of, at least, direction they went with the series, which is kind of interesting because he, I guess, feels very, personal about the role.
The character. He was the first like face of the role, right?
Exactly, right? So it sounds interesting. Maybe I'll have to watch more of it.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty good. Yeah, I've been playing some Minecraft and some Fogs with the kiddos, so been slowly advancing through that. Fogs is hilarious. Just a two-headed dog wandering around.
Oh yeah. You know what? It's so funny. Oliver is like just like not into gaming. But maybe he'll warm up to it. Elise is like, she wants to grab that controller and play, and it's funny because she's the youngest.
It's funny because it's almost the same way. Like, my oldest, she doesn't really play video games as much. She'll come every so often, but she's a lot older too, so she can really play the game on her own if she really wants to, and she just prefers to watch TV on her tablet. And then Era is like, she's been just super excited to try out with the controller. She's always like, Daddy, come on, play some video games.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I feel like the time will be the same.
Oh, yeah. Most of the time, the hardest part is, like, I just jumped on with Ryan or something, and then she'll come up and just be like, you want to play some games? Just started with Ryan.
He's like,
all right. I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm going to foster this while I can.
Like, I got to mold her into the esports champion she'll be.
Right. Yeah.
She's got to rep Northern Ontario, right?
Oh, yeah, she's got to. And then I'm going to have a gaming buddy for the rest of my life, too. So
exactly, right?
Yeah, what did you get up to this week?
Oh, well, nothing much. This week, still kind of, I'm so stuck on this boss in Final Fantasy 13, so I'm at that point where you're just like, you play the boss, you die, and then you grind for another couple hours, and then you go back to the boss, and then you die, and then you realize you have to grind for a bit. But you did a lot better than you did last time, so it's just a little bit more. So, and I feel like I'm just at the end, so I just don't want to give up on that.
Yep.
I also played today this I think it's called Dreamscape, or I'd have to pull it up in front of me. It just came out on Game Pass as like a top-down like rogue light dungeon crawler. You'll see gameplay for it probably next week, which was pretty enjoyable actually. But just kind of going through that and Mass Effect 2 right now. I really went through Mass Effect 1 really quickly, so I'm kind of taking more time with Mass Effect 2. God, I love like going to Omega in the asteroid and just like looking over this like the balcony and just seeing like the sections just hanging from the ceiling and coming out from the floor, and just it looks so crazy big. It reminds me actually a lot of Omega specifically reminds me a lot of the Ascent. Yeah, like those areas in the Ascent. Or the Ascent,
so good.
kind of like borrowed from Omega. I just get a lot of Ascent vibes in Omega, for sure. But signed up Oliver to school this week, so that was emotional. It was just like, how is he going to school in September already? Like, how is he at that point in his life already? It's just kind of mind-blowing.
So big, so quick.
So quick, right?
You didn't think it'd feel this quick. Like, everybody says that, but I feel like I thought it was still going to be a little bit longer than this.
I know, right? And because Elise is like 2, I'm like cherish these moments because she'll be
by fast.
It'll go by fast. It'll be interesting when he's in school that year and Elise is not. There'll be that kind of one-on-one time with Elise.
Yep.
Which will be nice. She's my little sweetie. But besides that, still dealing with a ton of snow outside. And taking the kids out, going tobogganing, playing games and stuff. So was feeling a little under the weather today, but feeling a little better tonight. So we'll be back at it tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about this week. A lot to talk about. God, like you would never think that January would be such a busy month for news. That's kind of just like, let's ease into the year, but no, let's go really hard.
Full steam ahead.
And the last day of January didn't end it with some big news, but we'll talk about that soon. But before we get into the major topic of the week, we got to kind of look at something we've been dying to see a full trailer of, but we finally got a better look at the Halo TV show. I got to tell you, this thing looks pretty incredible. Besides, that quick shot of Cortana, I'm fairly hyped for this after seeing the trailer, but are we officially hyped for this? What did you think of the overall tone of the trailer and the kind of story they were kind of giving off?
I think it looked good. It was definitely better than. Well, I don't want to say better because like the marketing for the older Halo games and everything was so good. I've wanted this for so long. And I think they've done a good job of it. The weird part for me is just Master Chief's voice isn't quite right because it's another actor.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And we kind of like talked about this a little bit before, but they have had some description and some showing of his face if you glitched through his helmet in some of the previous games and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if you ever actually see Master Chief with his helmet off or if he keeps it on all the time. I kind of hope he does keep it on all the time.
Yeah, I think The Mandalorian, as we were even talking about it, and my kind of gripes about that show. So my biggest gripe of this show will be like, he takes his helmet off so much. But I think The Mandalorian showed that you could have a main character in a TV show and not like show his face like at all. And there's very it's hard to act when you especially are just wearing a helmet and it's a visor essentially. But some actors have done a really good job. And I think we were talking about it the other day, but the actor who played V in V for Vendetta, he always had his mask on all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember watching interviews with him, and he was saying it's hard to portray what's kind of going on in his head, but he would use subtle like kind of tilts of his head or how the lighting was hitting his face in certain areas to do that. So I really hope the actor who is portraying Master Chief can kind of do that in the show itself. Kind of, they did a pretty good job in Halo Infinite, where they're like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Nope." Like, just kind of blunt his bluntness in situations. But
it's
I'm
funny
curious because
he
he is a main
barely
character, right?
Yeah. And he understands humor, but he almost doesn't at the same time because he was like raised sheltered, kind of like he was taken as a child and grown up. So it'll be interesting to see how they portray that in the show exactly.
No, exactly. And I think they'll do the classic, like, constantly jumping through, like, flashbacks of when they were, like, kids and stuff and the horrific things they kind of put them through. But I wonder if they'll get into the fact that they were designed before the Covenant came, and they were designed to, crack down on insurrectionists and
the outer colonies and everything. Yeah.
People who are probably having like really tough lives, because there's that line in the trailer where it's just like, I've never heard a Spartan wanting to help. I don't know what she called herself, but like a colonist like her. And I'm curious if it's going to be like Master Chief and her going off and on their own kind of adventure, if he gets like a vision in his head or something. He's a loose cannon. But this is a different timeline, right? This is the silver timeline, as they were saying. And if people are watching in the image, you'll see that there is a team of Spartans up there, but this is silver team, so it's not blue team. I wonder if you will see blue team eventually.
I hope so. I think they've got to, at least. They got to throw like they're going to be throwing a bunch of references back to the games and alluding to probably all sorts of stuff. I want to see some ODST like action in there too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think even like if the show is successful enough, I would love to see an ODST TV show. I think ODSTs could totally have their own TV show. Remember there was that one trailer, that live action trailer where they're all like standing around the fire with the helmet of their teammates that just like died on their sniper rifle. And it's like going through like the drill sergeants and stuff, and just like them just like going through hell. And they're just like, we are not like advanced like humans. We are shell-shocked, trained to the bone soldiers that fall out of the sky. So I would love to see ODST kind of. I would love to see another ODST. Give me more ODST. ODSTs are so cool. Yeah,
they're crazy. Like they're like almost as good as Spartans, and like the only reason Spartans are better is because they've been augmented so much.
Yeah. Well, that was the cool thing about Buck. He was a ODST that was turned into a Spartan, so I would not want to mess with that guy. For sure.
Yeah. And then on to Cortana, of course. It's I like that they got the voice actress who voices Cortana and everything, so the voice will be right. But yeah, it was definitely more of a plain look to her. It wasn't as like digital. It looked like a person turned into a hologram, more so than like an AI generating its own visual image from its its own way that it thinks it looks, sort of thing.
Yeah, it just. I hope this is like a really pre-production, because it was such a quick shot of her.
Yeah.
So, I will give it the benefit of the doubt that it was a quick shot and I really need to see this thing more. But, Cortana is more so just a talking voice. You don't really see her. Not so much like in the game where he's just like, I'm going to throw her onto every terminal I see, which was kind of weird. It'd be kind of cool if like she kind of projected herself like on the shoulder or something like that, instead of just like, do I have to like put you into every computer so I can see you?
Yeah.
But I wish you could see more of like those digital, like almost like Matrix lines that like go down her body. I feel like you don't
code
see
moving
any
around and floating. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like almost like an atmosphere around her. But she just looks like a person with she just looks like a person,
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I thought the whole
definitely a little bit of detail like on her shirt.
Yeah.
I think it was moving around a bit, but it's like it's hard to notice even.
Well, I thought that there was the whole thing that made it interesting. It was like almost like two machines falling in love with each other, right? Because there was, in the end, there was like there was a love between them, getting into the heart and love story of Halo, right? And actually, I find 343 explored that a lot more than what, especially in Halo 4. God, man, they really screwed up with Halo 5. Halo 4 is such a good story,
right?
Like, and then they screwed up with Halo Infinite story, because they should have just continued what Halo 4 did well from there. But
I'm hoping eventually we'll get to see that roadmap and everything, and we'll get to see what their plans for it is, because Halo Infinite really feels like it was good in its own right, but it feels like it's the first quarter of the story they wanted to tell.
Maybe we'll get something like that out of the TV show. Yeah. It'd be interesting if we see Cortana go down rampancy in the TV show, if we get the Didac coming in like season 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. Really the Didac was such a cool bad guy too, compared to the bad guy in Halo Infinite. Like the Didac, he was so cool.
Even more interesting will be if we see it come to like, a streaming service that Canada has.
Yeah, so that's a mystery. I'll have to look further into that. I don't know if they announced anything.
Yeah, all I know is
I
it's
would
on
imagine
Paramount
it's
Plus,
Crave.
Yeah, Crave or something, or hopefully they release it on like Game Pass or something.
Yeah, it should be a Game Pass perk. Like that's a missed opportunity. If it's not, that is, it should be. Especially if they're going to make more. Especially if it's a successful TV show. But I wonder if it will be part of like their films and TV, like where you can just buy and rent. If they'll like give you an episode for free, like the first episode for free on that could be cool. And then maybe buy the season. Maybe nice. Use your Microsoft points,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty much free. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool seeing some of the moments in this like trailer. So I want to go through a couple of those moments with you. The fight scene with the two elites fighting Master Chief, and he's really like bobbing and weaving around them. They show like his like shields kind of get clipped at the top.
Yeah.
What did you think of the look of the Covenant itself?
I think it looks good so far. I'm surprised at well, not necessarily surprised. I mean, they've got the 3D models there. So I mean, they're just getting better and better engines. So like having the look of them the way they are, like they're pretty damn close to what the games are and like what I picture in my head. A little more detailed, of course, because it's TV show quality. But yeah, it looks good, and like I like the armor and everything too. I'm surprised at how much like when Halo 4 and 5 kind of first came out and they brought that much more detailed armor to Master Chief and just the flex and look, like it had more of like a Crisis look almost to it.
Almost, yeah.
And than just the standard, like, Halo polygons and everything. It was it was a little like, I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but now it just keeps growing on me. So I think
Well,
I do
I like Halo Infinite's kind of almost mixture of the two. They kind of fixed his shoulders a little bit better. They made him look more classic Master Chief in Halo Infinite. But it is definitely different, his armor.
Yeah.
A little bit more slim. I thought I would like it to be just a little bulkier, maybe in the shoulders or something like that.
Yeah.
I find in Halo Infinite, his shoulder pad is pretty like beefy and like very rigid looking. I like the way it looks in that. So I wish it was just in the shoulders. I feel like his chest and everything looks great, but I wish his shoulders were I wish those pads were just a little bit more squared off and a little bit bigger, a little taller maybe.
Yeah,
but
he feels
besides that,
like
he looks
just
great.
a little bit slimmer because he's supposed to be like, after his augmentation, he ended up being like 7'1" or something like that, or
like pretty tall, like 7'6" or something like that. Like pretty.
Yeah.
Hey Google, how tall is Master Chief?
Nothing.
About 7 feet, yeah. Or 6 at 10 inches. Hey Google, stop. So yeah, you're spot
on. Yep. And just like, because he should be on average like a foot taller than most people, just after the augmentation and everything. It was just crazy, and they weigh like 2 tons or something with the armor on.
It can't be 2 tons.
It's like a ton or 2 tons. They weigh a lot. Here,
it's something outrageous.
Yeah.
But overall, I look forward to seeing the UNSC troops on screen. I really want to see like when Spartans come into battle, like them giving inspiration. Like there was that great shot in the trailer where the soldier hands him like the weapons, like, oh, Master Chief's here. He's gonna kick some ass.
So he's 7 feet tall and weighs 1,000 pounds in the armor.
Okay, so he's a ton. Dang.
Yeah.
1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You don't want him to step on you. Jesus, they didn't even have to have they didn't even have to have ground pound. That'd be great if in Halo Infinite, if you could just like jump on people's heads and it just like crushes them. It's like, why would it crush you? It's like, because he's 1,000 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
That's
like I could see the elites or the brutes like withstanding that, but just being able to like land on a grunt and just splatter him would be insane.
Yeah, no wonder they put thruster packs on them when you were running in Halo 5 and you could like shoulder pound through like a wall. It's like 1,000 pound like tank smashing.
It makes all of that, like all of those movements and everything feel like different once you understand how much weight. When he's tackling someone, they go flying. Because that's a ton of weight just going straight through you. And all of it's like, cyber circuitry and hydraulics and all sorts of crazy nonsense that just like empowers him on top of his augmentation. It was saying in the books and everything, like they did some testing on regular humans and everything. And because they made it so sensitive and so powerful, it was like any flinch or jerk would be amplified like 100 times. So they had to go through like intensive training just to be able to wear the armor. And it was regular people would go in them and like turned a bit and ended up like twisting and like snapping a person in half. And like all the twitches from the pain that he was feeling were way exaggerated too. So it just like ended up pulverizing regular people in the armor.
See, and I hope that this is what the show can go into in these like flashback sequence, because in the trailer itself they show like him as a boy, so it looks like they're gonna get into it. But some of the set pieces look great. There's this one shot, I forget the name of the place they're at, but it's in like a meteor and they're on like this rail car and it's going through this like crazy looking city, or even just the city shots alone in the UNFC, like either Colony Worlds or Earth itself. I feel like they got the look for sure down. But it looks like we're going to have, and I guarantee you she'll be a good guy at some point in the show. Isn't that how it always goes? But it looks like we have a human that is aligned with the Covenant, probably raised as a child with the Covenant. Because from what I remember of the games, the Covenant can't really interact with Forerunner technology, so they use her to interact with Forerunner technology because it has to be a human or a reclaimer. But I'm curious if they'll get into the whole Forerunner, reclaimer, humans, actual history.
Yeah, how much is the first season going to be about just like, UNSC versus Covenant, and how much it's going to include the Forerunners and everything else?
Yeah. So I think overall I'm hyped. I think it will be good for the series if it is a quality show. I think it will be good for Halo, as the series kind of needs a boost, in my opinion. I hope this Halo show does what The Witcher did for the Witcher 3 game, even though The Witcher 3 was incredibly successful, but it gave it a huge boost in sales at the time, and people are just kind of talking about it. But Halo Infinite has a great opportunity as well to market the show with maybe season 2 having a bunch of armor pieces, or maybe like the Fractured Tenra event or the Cyber Showdown event, we have like a event that is just like the TV show. Like, imagine if every event in season 2 was to get like the full set of armor of Silver Team. That'd be super cool. So I think
I was going to say have a Silver Team event, and that'd be awesome, especially in Firefight or something, like recreate one of the missions that they go on or something.
I want Firefight so bad, but we won't talk about that. I think we've talked about that. But man, why Paramount Plus? But whatever, maybe the show could be the huge
Brave or something.
Yeah, maybe it's the show that Paramount Plus needs to sell its service. But like, honestly, how can you keep up with the amount of content these other services like put out? I feel like Paramount Plus and these other companies would have a better would have more success like partnering with like other ones. I almost feel like the alliance of movie studios needs to happen, right?
I'm honestly surprised like Paramount Plus isn't just up here already. So I mean, they had an entire theme park like near Toronto, in the GTA. What?
Paramount Canada's Wonderland. So, why don't you give it? You
sold
love
that though, so
Like
I don't know if we're allowed back in now.
I remember the Top Gun roller coaster, and now it's not called Top Gun; it's called like Flight Deck now.
Yep,
they changed all the names. I'm like,
they kept all
of called Top Gun.
Yep, kept all the rides, just changed the names. The Tomb Raider's now just like Aztec Temple or something.
Something stupid.
Yep.
Oh well, but it comes out sometime in March. So keep your eye out for that.
Oh yeah.
But getting on
watching that one way or another.
We'll be figuring out a way to watch that. I think they'll find a way to give it to the Xbox community. But on to other Xbox franchises. Sea of Thieves is one of Xbox's biggest hits. It now actually has over 25 million players. And 2022 is going to be their biggest year yet. This game is growing. So this game is getting a huge update this year with a persistent story like over the year, and also a murder mystery as well with this story, which will be really cool. But they also said there will be hidden secrets in the world itself that the community will have to find, and based off the community's reaction and kind of theories and what they talk about and all these things, it will kind of determine on how they want to go about exploring that kind of secret as well. So cool little things. They even took a very beloved outpost in the game itself, and it's now in ruins, and it has a fog in there. So the whole mystery is about like what happened to this beloved outpost, and apparently it's going to even change even further. So it's kind of cool that we're getting a persistent, ever-changing world with it.
Yeah.
But Sea of Thieves, it continues to surprise me as a live service game. And will this finally be the update to, will this persistent, story that came out of the pirate's life finally bring us into playing Sea of Thieves? I feel like if we can dedicate like maybe like one night or a couple nights a week to just like playing it hard, we could do it,
It'd be good. I want to find out more about the stories because I enjoyed the Pirates of the Caribbean story and everything. Having Jack Sparrow in there, like that was a perfect fit for that. And this, of course, like, ongoing mysteries and the secret that they're going to have around. It's going to be interesting to really see how that evolves and how they take that whole storyline. And that's what this game's really like all about. Like it's always felt like more of a social game. And like the hardest part was really just like dealing with some of the other players when they would find your boat after you've loaded up with treasure and everything. But that's part of the risk of it. It wouldn't be all that exciting if it was just super easy to go grab some stuff and just take it back to shore, right?
I would say the biggest tip for playing this game is don't play in a party chat. You have to play with a free mic because it's all proximity with other players as well. Yep. But I'm glad that they are continuing to update this game, that Rare has really found something that kind of fits with their like kind of spirit of overall like look and theme of like almost their company. I feel like they're a very like witty, piratey like company. Even though they made like Banjo-Kazooie and Conquer and like all these games. I just feel like Pirates was a good fit for them. And when the game came out first, it was so bare bones. So it's nice to see actually some meat on this product. And I feel like when we first played it, when it first came out, we said it ourselves, like the game is here, like the world is here, like you guys got something like really cool, but you just need to just like keep on
little
adding
something
to
extra.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm even more excited to even see what 2023 has for this game. I wonder if they'll upgrade the graphics engine to maybe Unreal 5 eventually. Maybe, and this is something I want to kind of dive into, maybe they'll add something like VR support into the game itself, because so there's a huge problem in these like VR chat rooms that people go into. There is a lack of something to do in the world itself. Some will be smart where you can play mini golf and stuff, but the overall like drive to go do something is lacking in these persistent VR like chat and even like the Horizon. But I feel like their mechanics of how everything is a physical item in this game lends to VR so well, and the world itself with the stars and the waves, just sitting on your boat or sitting in a candlelit bar, but having it in VR and it being immersive, like looking around you and feel like you're in that room. I could see people like using that as the ultimate VR chat because there's no progression in the game. It's all about just like how your swagger looks, you want to just like hang out in the bar and just like talk with your friends, and it's like, hey, let's all get up and like go on the boat and like let's sail and look at the stars and let's do a couple like back and forth missions for a couple things. Let's go look at the map and dig up some treasure. But because everything is so physical in the game, it it needs to be a VR game. Like I was like talking to my wife, and my wife's obsessed with VR, and she's like, she can't get it out of her mind that Sea of Thieves needs to be a VR game. And if Microsoft is saying things like, oh, we look at Meta, formerly Facebook, as their competitor, and Amazon and stuff like that, which I feel like Amazon's just going to I feel like Amazon's just going to continue what they're doing and just be that small.
Yeah,
it's more so
gaming company.
Yeah, it's more so like Netflix. I'd be worried about. But if Meta is like, if they say Meta is their one of their competitors, I'm like, then you have to get into VR. You have to get into VR. You already have a machine right there. Just I don't know, like, see if you can put like an app onto the Meta Quest in their app store that allows you to stream your Xbox to your Meta Quest or something. Like, I feel like you don't even have to make hardware. Like, there's already the hardware.
Like there should be, exactly. There's already ways to stream it to your VR headset and everything. Why not? And I mean, it's funny because all you'd really need is probably a adapter, like a high-speed adapter that works with some of the peripherals that are already on the Xbox there. And it wouldn't be too hard to implement, I think. And you're absolutely right about the whole experience being very VR-like. It's one of the games that has the closest feel to a VR game for me than like any other ones, just because it's got that very social aspect. Like, we were walking around and like we'd all start busting out our instruments and everything, and each instrument just adds to the song, whatever random song that starts playing. And so it's a nice, like, you can sit down and like just all sit around a fire and play that and chat for like an hour and still feel like you got some good gaming in. You can go and grab some chests or whatever, or you've got that time in between where you're sailing to, because it takes time to get across the ocean and everything, where you actually have time to talk and everything. And like, you got beers that you can have, and your guy starts getting woozy and throwing up and everything. So that'd be a whole, I guess the hardest part would be the motion sickness for that game in VR.
Yeah, like you drink too much. But it needs to be a thing.
I want it on VR. Yeah.
I want it on the VR so bad. Rare, I know you're not listening to this absolutely at all, but god damn, make that game VR.
Just do it.
It would be magical, man. It would be. I feel like even like the gameplay, how it's like one shot, and like the sword swipes are very like even like your gameplay feels back. VR, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just charge up and switch. Like, that's just it. You can have the sword on your belt, you know, you have a gun, you got to load it with a pellet and like pack it down and fire. And
hold the thing to load the pellet or something. Like, they could do such a good job of it. But I'm excited for the future of the game. I hope to get back into it. I want to even play games like Grounded even came out with a new update, and they added like more areas to go to, bigger map now. So it seems like they're constantly expanding that game. So Microsoft has some pretty interesting, persistent games, and it looks like that's kind of what they want to get into. So we'll see. I'm curious if they'll have like a online like co-op capability and like Fable and stuff, or because Playground Games are so good at like their online. So we'll see what the future has in store for these other games. But Sea of Thieves looks bright for sure. But what looks even brighter is the future for a certain company. So this will be pretty much the big topic of this episode. Don't have a ton of topics this week. It was kind of a funny week. We'll be laughing about it and talk about that probably more next week. What happened, but we'll be having a special guest next week as well, Ham Solo. So look forward to that. But the big topic this week is not an Xbox topic, but kind of Xbox adjacent almost.
Could be in response to an Xbox
Yeah,
topic.
it could be a response. Yeah, right. But the big thing is Sony has followed Microsoft with the acquisition, and that acquisition happens to be Bungie, the popular creator of Halo, Destiny, and their biggest franchise, Marathon. But
this franchise they still own anyways.
Yeah, right. This purchase came in at $3.6 billion. But there seems to be a little bit of a catch based off the statement Bungie gave. We do have a statement here. It's not the full thing. It's just it is still long, but we kind of cut it in half. So, Dan, you can take it away from here.
Alrighty. So their statement here goes, "We believe games have limitless potential and that to do anything worthwhile in entertainment, we must bet big on our vision, on our studio, and on our incredible team of trusted creators who build unforgettable worlds that truly matter to people. In SIE, so Sony Entertainment, we have found a partner who unconditionally supports us in all we are, and who wants to accelerate our vision to create generation-spanning entertainment, all while preserving the creative independence that beats in Bungie's heart. Like us, SIE believes that game worlds are only the beginning of what our IPs can become. Together, we share a dream of creating and fostering iconic franchises that unite friends around the world, families across generations, and fans across multiple platforms, the entertainment mediums. Today, Bungie begins our journey to become a global multimedia entertainment company. Over the past 30 years, the inviting worlds we've built have been turning into thriving communities, and that community is the true magic. These communities have taken Bungie beyond games. They have forged lifelong bonds and humbled us with real, meaningful good. They drive within us and the world. More than anything, SIE understands that our people and our community are both the priority and the heart of our success, and are willing to stand alongside us as we continue to use our platform to drive action towards a more welcoming and equitable world. Our goal is to build a place where the world's most creative and talented people can come and do their best work, no matter who they are, where they're from, and how they identify. And that's the real dent in the universe we want to make, the one that will last beyond us. And be a part of the future with us. See you Starside." Yeah.
So there's a lot there. There's a lot missing, but those I found were pretty much the important part. Things like saying they get to keep their independence. They are going to be publishing on multiple platforms, and that they are going to be a multimedia company going forward. So I find this deal, so like after reading that and hearing that, and also like their questionnaire saying that their games will still be, even their next game, published on consoles like Xbox.
All multi-platform yet.
This was a bad deal, right? Like
I'm not sure entirely what Sony's getting out of it, other than maybe some of the revenue, and I'm not sure if it's going to make up for like almost $4 billion worth of revenue. Yeah, like it really seems too convenient, and even their wording of it and everything is very much like on multiple levels, kind of a retort to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, because they start to talk about their independence and everything. So Sony's not necessarily going to get it. Like Microsoft's been announcing a lot of these exclusives and everything that are going to come to Game Pass, and PlayStation is more so leaning towards like, hey, we just acquired somebody big, but we're going to share still. So you guys are going to share too, right?
Well, Destiny is one of Phil Spencer's favorite games, actually. So they're just like, Bill, we have your Destiny.
Yeah.
Give us COD.
We have your child.
So I know Phil Spencer plays a lot of Destiny. So which I find funny. So maybe that's how they're like, oh, Phil Spencer, he plays a ton of Destiny. We'll get him now.
Just wait until we make him buy a PlayStation just to play his game.
It's funny. There's a analyst, Michael Pachter. He said this based off the revenue that the Bungie makes per year, that this is just, they overpaid for them. And some people have mixed feelings with that statement, but I don't feel like he's wrong because he's just going off pure numbers. So based off the numbers itself, Microsoft buys Bethesda for $7 billion. So that's $3 billion more than what they paid for Bungie. And they get, what, like 7 studios out of it, a ton of IP, like
games
graphics engines,
Game Pass,
interesting cloud technology, real estate itself for their studios and stuff.
Pre-hyped games that they're already like talking about releasing. Like before Bethesda was purchased and everything, they already had like, hints towards Starfield and everything, and they had information on their upcoming stuff, and everybody's excited about it already.
But Bungie though has Destiny 2 and their upcoming game Matter.
Yeah.
But no one knows what Matter is. It could be amazing. Mind you, Jason Jones is an incredibly talented game developer, creator of Marathon, Halo, and kind of brought Destiny to, I wouldn't say brought Destiny to what it was, but brought Destiny into fruition. It seems like he kind of just like puts out comes out with the initial concept and the gameplay loop for the game, and then kind of goes back into hiding and starts working on his next project.
It's like, this will be amazing. Roll with it.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, he throws the game to his team, and then they take it from there. But, look at Destiny 2. It's an amazing, has an incredible community of players. The gameplay is really good in Destiny, and the power fantasy, just like popping your power and just like destroying like hundreds of waves of like Cabal, and just the game is cool. So they definitely got a top of the line first person developer. But for $4 billion, I almost feel like for a couple billion dollars more, you could have walked away with a publisher like Capcom or even Square Enix. If you're going to hold if you want Final Fantasy to be the home, like PlayStation to be the home for Final Fantasy, and like, why wouldn't you buy Square Enix at that point if you're willing to go $4 billion into debt? Mind you,
rather than
they are going $4 billion. They're not like, oh, we're going into our bank accounts and pulling out $4 billion. No, they're going into $4 billion into debt to buy Bungie. And in my head, I can't understand it, when if they can pull that much debt out for that company, I feel like Square Enix would have been the smarter choice. And if it's about like building online like worlds, I'm like, Square Enix has the biggest MMORPG in the world right now with Final Fantasy XIV. Like, that game is so huge. So they are like well aware of how to make they like, that's their bread and butter right now is Final Fantasy XIV. The Final Fantasy franchise in general.
And it feels like more of a Sony product even. Yeah. Like, Square Enix fits with Sony better than I feel like Bungie does. Like, I feel like anything Bungie comes out with, or anything Bungie has come out with so far, feels like a Halo or a Halo spin-off, or like Marathon, of course, came first, but that's what the Halo universe is based on. And then on top of that, you got Destiny, which is very much a, like, bunch of guys, armor-clad, rolling around as super soldiers. Like, it's pretty darn close to Destiny. Like, what's Matter going to be that's going to be that different that's going to really, like, take off and do as well as Destiny has.
I feel like Matterwatch will look like from the logo they put out of it, it has like spray, like pink, like spray paint, like splatter on it. So it'll probably look like Sunset Overdrive or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Could see that. I feel like their last part of that speech there, talking about like the environment they're forging and like kind of the community and all of that, was also a little bit of like a jab at like, hey, yeah, you guys just spent a whole lot of money on like a company that's going through a whole lot of problems, and like we really want to foster a good environment, but you're like, hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, they are dealing with their own kind of problems, but like, how do you feel about Bungie potentially? Like, I feel like this doesn't really have an impact for me. Like, do you feel like it's almost like it's like a?
I feel like I'm waiting for the catch. Like,
yeah, like, people are like, oh, they bought Bungie. Like, some people are even stupid enough to think that Halo was going to go with them, which they got ratioed to the point where some people even deleted their Twitters, which was just, standing back and just watching it all fall apart in front of you is just kind of fun. But like, how did you think like Halo was coming with them? But
how do you figure that's going to work out?
I like Destiny lore. I'm a big lore junkie, I find. Yep. It's funny, I love World of Warcraft lore. Man, I love World of Warcraft lore. I love Destiny lore. I'm really into Destiny lore. I think it has a really cool and complex world. So considering they want to be a multimedia company, what better company though than Sony to partner up with to start making maybe a Destiny TV show coming up or a movie or something like that, really fleshing out the Destiny universe. I think has a really good opportunity for that. I would love to see, especially a TV show. I think Destiny is a strong enough world. When you finally like look into the lore and world of Destiny, I would love to see like the time when the Traveler first comes to Earth. That age way before even the game itself. That golden age. There's such a history in Destiny. It's funny, I was saying I'm a lore junkie. I've been watching a ton of lore videos on Warhammer 40K. That's such a weird universe, but then you can see where a lot of stuff from like Blizzard was like inspired from. So
I feel like we're on like the downtrend of the superhero movies and TV shows and everything. Like we're still getting a lot of that, and it's going to be becoming, or it already is kind of commonplace. And I think we're seeing the rise of more video game based franchises and everything coming to TV with like The Witcher and Halo and everything come in. I think PlayStation is watching this trend and being like, okay, well, we got to partner up with somebody, and Destiny is a great, franchise to start an entertainment on the, television and movie side if they end up making a movie or something to compete with Halo. If Halo starts taking off, then that's going to be their one main competitor. It's easy to root for Sony sometimes too, because they're kind of the underdog, right? They're the smaller company that's still managing to compete with giants like Microsoft and
Nintendo. Like a healthy Sony is good for the industry in the end. I just feel like it was way too much money.
Yeah.
Like, I still can't get over the $4 billion because I can, like, how much is Square Enix even valued at? Would have it been like maybe a $6 billion, $7 billion purchase like Bethesda or something? I couldn't see Square being worth any more than Bethesda. Right? Just based off of Final Fantasy is a huge game and a huge property, but like we're talking about like Fallout and Elder Scrolls on top of. I would say they are just as big collectively, if not bigger, in some individual cases like Skyrim than individual Final Fantasy games. We obviously have a fondness for the Final Fantasy franchise as it is a classic staple in the gaming industry. But Bungie will definitely fill a gap for them. But when I say that, I'm like, but it doesn't fill a gap for them because then their games are not exclusive. So like King David says on the Iron Lord podcast, man, PS5, it's their last console for sure, man. There's going to be no PS6.
Yeah. Well, they're already remaking it, so who knows?
Right? Well, like, how can you compete in the future when, like, the next TV you buy is going to have an app on the TV itself, and it's probably going to come with a controller in the box. So a lot of these companies will be like, oh, pack in our Xbox controller for the TV.
Well, Sony is one of those companies making the TVs already, right?
The fact that, man, they really need to get their cloud infrastructure together, but it's going to be run off the Azure network, so it should be pretty good because how good the cloud streaming is now on console and on my phone, on Wi-Fi 6 especially.
Yeah, it's
like amazing.
It's only going to get better. Yeah,
it's only going to get better. So if they feel like this purchase will help them compete, but it really shows that their focus as a company, and this is almost $4 billion more worth of focus, is PC gaming. Their future is PC gaming. And I'm curious if this will almost be a play to make a launcher that is almost like akin to a BattleNet, where it has maybe not so much like games like The Last of Us or Horizon, but maybe they're live service focused games all built into like a BattleNet kind of experience where they are getting 100% of the profits instead of splitting it with Steam or stuff like that.
Yep.
Because it still blows my mind the fact that Xbox games will be in the top 10 selling in Steam charts on PC, but those games are like on Game Pass on PC right there. And they work. I don't know. I don't play PC, but my wife plays a ton of the Game Pass games. She has no issues running them.
Yeah.
So, and now that they let you put them in any folder you want instead of it just being lost in some random folder on your computer.
Yeah. That's a lot nicer because I have, especially my gaming computer. My gaming computer is a series of 3 different hard drives, basically 3 different SSDs, and then I have a massive terabyte. Well, not massive anymore, but I have a 2 or 3 terabyte hard drive for my main storage stuff, and then I've got a M.2 for all the games that I really want to run well. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm going to get that extra speed on there and everything, and then upgrade it to Windows 11 too, so I can hopefully take advantage of some of the direct memory storage.
But Jim Ryan did come out and say that this is not the last purchase. So it looks like they're willing to go even further into debt to buy other companies. I think a good fit for them on top of Square, considering they bought the rights to EVO, would be Capcom, because it seems like they want Street Fighter for themselves as well. I feel like they really want to dominate in the mind's eye to consumers that they are the Japanese box with Japanese RPG and anime with their acquisitions of Crunchyroll and stuff. I feel like they want to be that weeb box for sure. Which is cool, man. I love fucking anime. I have a Bleach tattoo on my back. I love, and that tempts me over to PlayStation is all the like anime stuff that they do have access to. But I feel like Xbox is also being very aggressive with their stuff. Like we got Danganronpa is on there now. Like I never thought Danganronpa would be on Xbox, but here we are. And the Series S is selling really well in Japan. So we could have a good future there, but I just feel like their use of the $4 billion could have been used. Yeah, could have been used better, in my opinion.
Not the best utilization of it. Yeah.
People say like you could say the same thing for the $70 billion Microsoft paid for Activision Blizzard. But in my head, I'm like, yo, you got Blizzard, and you got Blizzard. Like,
man, not
Activision
even that.
aside, you got Blizzard Entertainment. Like, hell yeah, man.
Blizzard and Activision aside, King just prints money. Like, you're gonna get that money back just off of King. Like,
King, yeah, right.
You don't even like anything else on top of that is just like it's just the cherry on top, really. It's like King, like Candy Crush and everything. They make so much friggin' money. You just basically bought yourself a money printer.
So if you add their profits on top of like their $16 billion that they made this year, like they are the healthiest they've ever been. So, but it just shows that we are in a consolidation wars, and the only one who walks away out of this with the most is all you PC fucking master race people out there. God damn, you guys are just fucking eating so good. You're like, oh, I got Game Pass over here. I got my Ubisoft thing over here. I got Steam here. Oh, Sony wants to start putting their games onto my thing. Oh, they give us widescreen support. Like you know, you look at a checklist of all the games coming out, and they're like, they show the console, the PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and fucking PC is just check marked down the whole list.
Oh, yeah.
Even like companies, I think Capcom said they are prioritizing PC above all other platforms for their games going forward. So it just shows, just like this acquisition shows you, kind of to come full circle, that the future for Sony, which they feel is the PC and streaming space for sure.
I really think we're going to see the entirety of gaming, like PC and otherwise. We're going to see a base level that's going to start to just keep rising, really, because that's going to be the streaming services. And that's going to be like, doesn't really matter how good your PC is, as long as it's good enough that it can like stream something properly and your internet quality is good enough that you can stream something properly, you're going to hit this baseline. And then anything above that, like if your specs on your computer are much above what a standard Series X is or whatever else it ends up being as time goes on, then above that, you'll be able to run it on your PC directly, and you'll be able to get the benefits of whatever your hardware can actually push out of it. But you'll have to do those install times and everything, and you know, there might be some restrictions eventually we'll see on like controller and keyboard and mouse variations, because there's a very unfair advantage across those.
Oh, yeah. But I think with the acquisition even of all those support studios Sony did over the year, over 2021, shows that, you know, a lot of those are support PC studios. So yeah, future for Sony, in my opinion, is PC. But, you know, overall, for us, like, it's not like they took Halo away from us. So I'd be real pissed off if Halo was getting, like, if they're like, Halo is now, like Crash Bandicoot is now an Xbox franchise.
I don't think they could do that. Like, I feel like that would be like somebody buying Mario from Nintendo, or buying Sonic from Sega, yeah.
I think the whole deal with when they went independent the first time from Microsoft was, they got to keep Halo and
Yeah.
everything Halo, and
Microsoft's like, that's our mascot. Like, we're not letting that go anywhere. Like,
I
even
think
if
they even got their engine too, because the engine they use for even Infinite is a modified like Bungie
version of that,
Halo
yeah,
engine, and from what I know, so is Destiny as
yeah,
well. So I'm pretty sure Halo Reach and Halo Infinite and Destiny run on the same engine, but they're just so tweaked and far apart from each other that they're considered to be two separate engines, because it's now called Slip Space, but it's really just the Halo engine.
yeah.
But I don't know. The future looks bright for Bungie.
Yeah.
Any last words for this acquisition?
I mean, I think we've said most of what we can say. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that catch is, because from where I'm standing, anyways, I don't see how how Bungie's making that much money off of Destiny right now that it's worth $4 billion for Sony.
Yeah, mind you, we're rounding, but
Yeah.
still, like,
Oh,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't. I
It's a
don't
huge amount of money.
understand.
Even
It's so
three
much
point
money.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, for one studio. There's a lot of
Yeah.
employees though, but now you got to pay all
And
those employees.
And granted, Destiny's doing the best that it can be, like, or the best that it's been doing in years, because it's had those dips and it's had that loss of player base and everything. I'm guessing we're going to see a lot more exclusive content, at least in the game, for PlayStation. You're going to start getting some PlayStation exclusive skins and stuff like that, at least.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they can't do one thing, there's going to be something.
I hope they don't go the whole like route of like, oh, we're gonna have exclusive strikes and dungeons and stuff. That would be just
Yeah.
bad for the community.
Yeah.
But they do say, we want like you know, the same experience across all of our properties. So we'll see what Bungie has in store. I'm very excited about their upcoming game Matter. Maybe we'll see that now
Yeah.
at the PlayStation Co showcase probably over the summer. So competition is good in this industry, in my opinion, and
Good for us.
everything looks bright. And this is only the first month. We're into February now, but what is next coming up in and E3 will be here in no time. So we have quite the exciting year. We didn't get Dying Light this week like I was hoping, but we are going to be getting MLB The Show. They announced coming in April, so that's another win for Xbox there for the Game Pass service. But with that said, I think that is the show. Dan, can you please take us home tonight?
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't forget to smack that subscribe button on our YouTube page. Tippity tap that like button and comment on my sexy voice, because I like it when you do that. Not that I think anyone has yet, but get on there and do that. It would be nice. Find us on audio only on Spotify and Google Podcast. Just search relentlessly for Xbox North Podcast. We're also on Reddit and Instagram. Look for Xbox North Podcast. For Twitter, at North Xbox. Because why would we make it easy for you?
All
That's
right.
all, folks.
Have a good night.
Yep. Till next week.
Honk honk.